How's it going, everybody? I'm Jeremy Langwell coming to you from Houmas House Estate and Gardens, and it is New Year's Eve over here at Houmas House, December the 31st, and I hope everybody had a great Christmas and holidays. We're so happy to have you here with us today to ring in the new year, and we're going to go ahead and just get started. You know, it's busy for us here at Houmas House today. We are going to be ringing in the new year with a great New Year's Eve dinner, and then we'll be closed tomorrow. Houmas House will be closed on the 1st, and other than that, that's the only day. January 1st and Christmas Day are the only 2 days we're closed. Other than that, we're open. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So the dish I'm cooking today, you know, with it being New Year's Eve, I wanted to incorporate champagne, as everybody's going to be having champagne, popping them bottles, and we're going to do a dish with that. So the dish I decided to do is going to be some seared scallops with a champagne butter sauce. Like all of my recipes, which you can find at houmashouse.com on the resource tab, click the resource tab on our houmashouse.com website, and then you'll see all our list of recipes. All the recipes are adaptable, so while I'm using scallops, and I love scallops, we'll talk more about them in a second, this recipe can be very, if you're like, oh, well, I don't have scallops, you could easily substitute this recipe for shrimp. Just use shrimp and do everything else the same, and it would be a great recipe. But we are using scallops, so let's just kind of talk about them a little bit. I love scallops. It's one of my favorite things to eat, one of my favorite things to cook, and it's so simple. However, it's also one of the things that can so easily be messed up if you just don't do it correctly. Easy to do, easy to mess up though. So let's go ahead and get into it and why that is. Scallops are one of these things now you can find oftentimes in many stores and markets. If you just go to the seafood section, oftentimes you'll see them. And if you've never cooked them before, I would encourage you. I love scallops. Go ahead, pick some up because they're just so simple to cook. You can make a great restaurant quality dish at home. Look, we're only using a couple ingredients. It's really simple because when you have a great fresh scallop, you don't have to do too much to them. I'm only going to season them with salt and pepper, but we're going to make a nice little butter sauce, and they're going to be fantastic. Of course, at any point you have any questions, please drop us a comment. First of all, we got so many great Christmas wishes from everybody last week. Thank you so much. It's just been so fantastic. But Jesse's behind the camera, and we're happy to answer any questions live as we go, or I'll be watching them throughout the week, and I'll answer some there. So we have a scallop here. Now, the one thing you want to do when we prepare our scallops is they have this little muscle here, and you probably can't see it on the camera, but if you were holding one, it's just this little piece. It's called the abductor muscle, and we're just going to pop these off of the scallops. All scallops have them. They're one of them right there. You just peel that off, and you just take this off. The reason why is because when the scallops cook, that muscle becomes a little rubbery and just not great to eat, whereas the rest of the scallop is just so tender that it just becomes real rubbery and chewy. So you just pop that off and it's good to go. Again, like I said, all we're going to simply do is season this with a little bit of salt and a little bit of black pepper, and that's all we need. Now, as we're getting going, this is one of those dishes that I love cooking because it's all, you just do one skillet. We're going to sear the scallops, take them out, then we're going to make a quick little sauce, and that's it. It's ready to go. It makes a great appetizer. So it could also be, you can do a few extra and do it as an entree, and that's how we're going to be serving it in the restaurant today as an appetizer. But just salt and pepper, and then I have a skillet that I have on high heat. And this is where I was talking about simple to cook, easy to mess up. What do I mean by that? To have a great scallop, you have to have a great sear and crust and caramelization on both sides of the scallop. It's going to give it this nice texture, and it's really going to give it a great depth of flavor on the outside. If you don't get a great crust on the outside of your scallop, the whole scallop itself is just going to have this rubbery, soft texture, which just isn't as nice as having that great crust on the outside. So to get that great crust, very simply, we're going to really heat this pan up hot. I got the pan, it's sitting on a high flame right now, and you want to go ahead and get a nice skillet. I'm using Teflon. Teflon really helps because scallops can stick, but if you don't have Teflon, that's fine too, because as long as your pan is smoking hot, then it shouldn't stick. Again, I'm going to overemphasize this. You want this pan hot. It's almost impossible to have it too hot. I know sometimes people at home are wary of just cooking with a pan that's hot, but just really be careful. You'll notice oftentimes when I'm cooking, this is just naturally because a lot of our pans at the restaurant don't have insulated handles. We're almost always we never grab a pan unless we have a towel in our hand. We're always grabbing with a towel, but just have you a towel so you can be safe. But whenever we put this oil in, let's see what happens, but we want to see that oil start to smoke. So we're going to put some of that oil in. I can see it's getting hot, and I'm just waiting to see. There it is right there. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I'm starting to see some smoke come off of the skillet, and that's exactly what we're looking for. If it's not smoking, if it's not hot, then you're not going to get that great sear, and your scallops might stick. So let's go ahead, now that I do see all that smoke coming off the skillet. There we go. That's exactly what we're looking for. Let's go ahead and get these scallops in here and get them starting to cook. Now another thing that we're going to do is we're not going to want to overcrowd our pan with scallops. Let's say you were cooking for a bunch of people and you just want to start putting, I got 4 scallops in here, you wouldn't want to put 10 scallops in here. Well, why is that? Well, think about it. Scallops ourselves, we just pull them out of the refrigerator, they're cold. Whenever we put, if we were to start loading up the pan with all these scallops, you're actually going to decrease the temperature of your pan. We want that pan as hot as possible. Hot, hot, hot is the key. So if you were to just all of a sudden load this up and overcrowd your pan, whether you're cooking scallops, whether you're cooking shrimp, whether you're searing a steak, you're going to reduce the temperature of that pan, and then you're not going to get that great sear. Everybody with me? If you're with me, give me a like, give me a share on the video. We appreciate that so much. We just love sharing everything we do here. So, as they're starting to sear, we're instantly starting to get that caramelization on the outside, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Now, scallops, you don't have to cook too long. Literally, you're going to want to sear them for 2 minutes each side in this hot pan. That's all you need. Now, watch how easy this is, because it's going to happen pretty fast once I take these scallops out, because the pan's going to be hot. I'm only working with a couple ingredients here. I got some diced onions, have some minced garlic, and some fresh chopped parsley, some lemon juice, some cream, the champagne, and the butter. Now, we are going to be using champagne. However, I'm not going to let anybody know. If you decide to do it at home, if you're not going to have champagne, you can very easily use Chardonnay or white wine. You know, champagne is always one of 3 grapes. It's either the Chardonnay grape, Pinot Meunier, or Pinot Noir grapes are the grapes that are used in champagne. So if you just had Chardonnay, it's just champagne without the bubbles, right? So you can use that just as easily. All right, as these start to sear, I'm just going to take them off to a plate and let them hold warm just for a second, because this is going to come together so incredibly fast. Using that same pan with the same oil. If all of a sudden you were to sear it off and you didn't have some oil because they kind of absorb oil, just add a little hint of oil. No big deal. But we're going to go right into here with the chopped onions. I got a little bell pepper in there as well. And we're just going to quickly saute that. Just looking to quickly turn those vegetables translucent. I have some garlic that's going to go in, minced garlic. Saute that around. Now, I think we're ready to add the champagne into here. So anytime you're adding any form of alcohol from the bottle into a skillet that's hot, you always want to pull the skillet off the fire, because when you add the alcohol in here, that alcohol will start to evaporate out, and it's very easy. It can, depending on the alcohol content, look at that, y'all. Get a little flambe, and look at that. We're going to just pull that out, so we don't want that fire to get on here. We're going to put a little champagne in here. I'm going to save this champagne. That's for Jessie, by the way. This is for Jessie. For tonight. She's the party animal, not me. We're going to let that reduce just for a second. We're going to add some heavy whipping cream into here. Now, we're a big fan. I promote them all the time, but we love buying local. And we have a great relationship with many farmers and producers here in the Baton Rouge area, one of them being Feliciana's Best, which is a local dairy producer here in the Baton Rouge area, just outside of the Baton Rouge area. We love using their products. Anytime that we can get some local products, we always love doing that. We use them and many of the other products we get from the Louisiana Farmers Market. So we're going to add a little bit of cream in there, keeping that reducing. Now, just real simple, we're going to add a squeeze of lemon juice into here. I love using these little squeezers because it just makes it so easy and you don't have to worry about the seeds. But I'm going to juice a whole lemon into hot. This is going to come together very fast. But, you know, you never go wrong with seafood and lemon. It's perfect. Once we get to this point, I'm going to add a little bit of fresh parsley. Always add your green herbs at the end, because if you add your green herbs into the recipe too quickly, you'll notice that instead of being a nice, bright, vibrant green, the herbs themselves are going to cook down to like an army green color, and we don't want that. So we keep it nice, bright, and vibrant just by doing that. And then once we get to a point where it's reduced enough to coat the back of the spoon, look, I got a spoon here. So look, we got a nice good coating on here. So that means it's reduced down enough where it's starting to get a little thickness. It's about the thickness of a sauce-like consistency. So what we want to do now is we're going to swirl some butter in here. Now this does require a little bit of technique, so watch how we do this. First of all, I have the butter pulled out so it's already softened. That's going to help. And what we're going to do is just swirl a couple pats of butter in the sauce. However, see how this is rolling boil, just bubbling all the way? What I'm going to do is I'm now going to kill the flame. So flame comes off. We're going to let that just die down just a bit, and now we're going to put a couple scoops of that butter in here, and then I'm just going to take the skillet and I'm going to start to swirl it to incorporate that butter into the sauce. Now the reason I'm doing this is because we're trying to create an emulsion, meaning we don't want this to break. If that sauce was bubbling away like it was just a few seconds ago, when we add that butter in here, what happens is the butter itself gets too hot and it will separate. So the sauce will actually be broken, where you'll have a layer of butter sitting on the top of the sauce and then all that cream at the bottom. But by taking it off the heat and just gently swirling that butter in here, then it all gets incorporated well without breaking. Now, because we're doing this, we want to serve this sauce right away. Because this unfortunately isn't a sauce that you can make ahead of time and then save, because if you were to reheat the sauce again, just to that. So just to finish this off, we're going to pepper. And now we are ready to plate this up. I like serving this dish in a bowl. I like putting a little bit of extra in the bowl itself, so you really have something to sop it up. Get you a piece of toasted bread, you can really sop up a lot of that extra sauce. We're going to come back with these seared scallops. Put them right in, put a couple of them right in there. We're going to be serving 3 in our restaurant. And this is a dish we're doing tonight, but also we're going to be doing this Saturday night in our restaurant as well. And there you go, guys. That is scallops pan-seared with a champagne butter sauce. Very quickly, as we start to finish up, you know, it could almost be cliche to talk about how crazy of a year 2020 has been, but I'm the kind of person who always likes to look on the bright. I want to go ahead and thank Jesse behind the camera. We started doing these videos because of the COVID. We started cooking with y'all, and it's really grown into something really fantastic and special. We enjoy it. We enjoy doing it every Thursday. We'll see you next Thursday, and I wish all of y'all a happy New Year.